I've been trying to learn some of the Macam system, which I really can't play at all because so that will definitely take some serious study, and I don't know when or how I'm going to do that. But
Well,
probably when I get home, I'm hoping that everything that's happened on this trip. Of course, I'm going to the Balkans next.
Okay, wow.
And there's another stylistic, very distinct style there.
Well, you answered my question after you were playing. Was that do you change? You have to go through the be in the frame of mind for that kind of music, and you answered it. Yes, it's. Do you find when you got to India and you started listening to the music there, where it's sort of like with language, you kind of go, oh my, this language, this is a language. Was music a little easier, or is it like, oh gee, I have to have a new box to start thinking about music, or do you think I can blend this with that, or it reminds me of that, or
sure, there's definitely crossovers. I mean, you have to make associations. That's like some of the ragas, the scales that very similar to what I had been playing, but yet the approach was so different.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky because I was traveling with Johar, and we played 4 concerts, and he actually he wanted me on stage, even though I knew really nothing about, and he'd give me solos, and I'd play I'm an improviser, so I could do something. I don't know if it was, but people seemed to like it, and Johar seemed happy with it, and I was, and to be that close in a concert situation where I'm, trying to play what he was playing, and he seemed to like me just kind of ghosting along whatever he was doing. I would play with him.
Wow.
And so it was like the ideal way of actually trying to learn a really foreign musical. And he was really a master of that style. It was really incredible.
Wow.
But to be on stage, it was kind of nerve-wracking sometimes.
Big crowd.
The other thing was actually really hard was we play sitting down on the floor with your legs crossed, and you rest the fiddle on your foot.
Oh, really?
And I'm not super flexible, Even though I've been doing yoga for a long time, I never really get flexible. But to sit there for an hour and a half, with my fiddle on my toe and trying to, it's actually a really good way of playing because it completely frees your hand up. And then in Indian classical music, you have really lots of long slides. So when your hand is free, I mean, I can do it without that way, but it actually feels really nice too. So I practiced every day. I'd sit, even during our lesson, I'd sit, and we'd play for a couple hours. So eventually, I got used to it. But after a concert, I could barely get off the stage.
Crawling out.
It was hard.
Wow. Yeah. That sounded really nice. Is that's something that you picked
well,
up there?
Yeah, that's.
Could you maybe?
Well, I mean, part of the style.
I've never heard a violin
in a raga. The beginning part of it is called alap, and the alap is an exploration that's pretty free form, and it's so improvised. Like that's why it felt kind of natural to me, because it's what I do in lots of other situations. So you have a scale, like say. Rag scale. So if you connect the notes, do a long exploration of that scale, and then there's usually at some point, there's the tabla will come in, and of course the whole time the harmonium is droning something, usually just 1 or 2 notes.
Yeah.
And
does it really must bring out some really amazing images when you start getting into that, with the drone and the tabla and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
You get into this whole other
And it's so meditative, and you know, Johar would say to me, you know, not so fast, you know, don't play so fast.
You feel you're really going
You
slow.
know, you know, coming from fiddle world, you know, and then you know, here we just, you know, and you lots of space. You just, you know, leave as much time, and then you gradually, you know, and you build, and it gets super, you know, it's very technical, very, and there's lots of really complicated ways of exploring the raga. And then of course there's, you know, the rhythm that's applied, and that's every raga has, you know, a specific rhythm that goes with it. Even the same scale can be a whole number of different ragas, but depending on what rhythm, lots of, you know, can be anywhere. The cycles, rhythmic cycles, you know, from 16 to 108. You know, most of them are a lot of them 16, but it can be all the way up to, and that gets to keep track of where. I mean, I don't know if you watched, you know, Indian classical music, but there's always that moment of one, you know. So keeping track of where that is can be really complicated.
Wow.
And it's, you know, that's definitely, I don't know, it's a lifetime or two of work.
That's quite fast. And now we'll take a short break. We will be back with Cam Neufeld at the Crossroads in a moment.